Hello, welcome. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for All Missouri Students, sponsored by the Missouri Association for College Admission Counseling and also StriveScan. Thank you for joining us. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists can't see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at MOACAC.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website, MOACAC.org. I'd now like to turn it over to our presenters.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit today about the Community College Advantage. So it's Jefferson College, Mineral Area College, St. Charles Community College, and Three Rivers. I will just let us introduce ourselves as we speak before each of our slides. And I'm actually first. So my name's Casey Dudley. Jacqueline Burks is here with me as well. We are both here from Jefferson College. So we can just kind of introduce ourselves before we speak, or actually let's just go ahead and introduce ourselves now. It'd probably make more sense to do that.
I'm Jacqueline at Jefferson College.
And I'm Davina Bixby. I'm from Three Rivers College, the admissions and recruitment coordinator.
My name's Sammy Meyer. I am an admissions representative at Mineral Area College.
And I'm Barbara Stratman, an admissions recruiter at St. Charles Community College.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. So like I said, we are going to talk about the Community College Advantage. So kind of starting first with why should I start at a community college? And I'll read through this a little bit and talk a little bit about it as well. So affordability. You can really attend a community college at less than half the cost of attendance at really even the most affordable four-year institutions. So if you completed the A+ program in high school, or if you're working, on completing the A+ program while you're in high school, that's another really great advantage with affordability. With the A+ program, you actually get free tuition at a community college, and that includes some additional fees. So it's not going to include things like lab fees and textbooks, but it does include your tuition. So when you really think about that, that amount comes to be close to $8,000, because if you think about a community college degree, that's about 2 years. So it really does, when you think about how much money you're saving, it really does save you a lot of money. And then comparing that cost to what it costs at a four-year college as well. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the upcoming slides. Flexibility with multiple locations, evening, weekend classes, and online options. So a lot of flexibility. You'll get to work with an advisor, and they're really going to work with you to build a schedule that's going to work best for you. Small class sizes. So you really do get to know your faculty, and you get to know the staff as well. A lot of different support services and resources. So just like at a four-year college or university, you have a lot of resources at a community college as well. So lots of things like academic success centers or learning centers, where we have labs staffed by instructors that can help you with your homework and test preparation and everything that you need to be academically successful. And we have resources like peer tutoring. Our libraries, where you can use printers and computers and have access to a lot of research information and everything. So we do have a lot of resources available for students. And then we also have a lot of clubs and organizations as well. So really to have that sense of belonging on campus, just like at a four-year college or university, there are a lot of those opportunities at a community college as well. So you want to be sure that you are being involved. That's one of the really important things, no matter where you're going to college, because you do want to have that sense of belonging. It really helps you out too when you're looking at transferring on, looking at future jobs, making those connections and networking and everything. And so you do want to seek out those opportunities at the community college as well. and then lots of scholarship opportunities. So one of those clubs and organizations is actually called Phi Theta Kappa, and if you have to actually be asked to join based on your GPA, and that is an honor society for community college. And just being a member of that organization opens up a lot of scholarship opportunities for you. But along with that, a lot of transfer institutions are going to offer scholarship opportunities as well based on your GPA. And when you go on to transfer and you go on to apply, a lot of those are automatic scholarships. So when you do look to transfer, you definitely want to be sure that you're asking about those different transfer scholarships and everything.
Okay, so we just heard a little bit about why start at a community college. It can be a huge advantage for you, but we want to talk a little bit more about the financial side of things. So a very common thing that we look at when we're comparing local community colleges and four-year universities is going to be cost. So many of you have probably already seen one of these cost comparison charts before, such as the one we have here on this slide. But just in case you haven't, or maybe you just want to be reminded of how dramatically the difference is, we're going to take a look at this. So paying for college is a big deal. So we have some stats to share here with you, and these stats are from local schools in Missouri. So as you can see here, the Missouri private four-year non-for-profit university, this is an annual cost. So per year, it's over $21,000. For a private four-year for-profit university, it's still over $20,000. A public four-year university within the state, again, this is an annual cost. It's over $8,000. So these are extremely, extremely high costs. This is the reason why there's such a large amount of debt and significant student loans for students coming out of high school, looking at the costs of colleges. So the good news is that the community colleges charge about $3,800 on average for tuition. So that is significantly, significantly less. As you can see here on this chart, 3 and 4 and 5 times less actually. So we just wanted to make sure that you remember how significant it is and how huge this cost savings can be for you. And remember, as Casey said before, that if you are A+, your tuition can be covered by coming to a community colleges such as ourselves. So also, in addition to tuition costs, I just wanted to talk about some other costs that come with applying for college. So the very first step, when you fill out the application, some colleges require a fee along with this. So the community colleges here on this webinar today have absolutely waived that application fee. So it's completely free for you to apply to any of our colleges. However, I have looked up the application fee for some other universities in the state of Missouri. So I'm going to go over that with you now. Lindenwood University is $30. Southeast Missouri State University is $40. Mizzou is $65. St. Louis University is $135. So again, guys, this is just to submit your application to get into the school system. So these are additional costs that you may not even be thinking about. And then if you have any kind of dual credit or college credit classes through any university that you took while you were in high school, you have to get those transcripts submitted. So those additional costs that go along with that. So we just wanted to make sure we pointed out some of, the additional costs that you may not be thinking about. These costs are real and they can't add up for you. So it's important to think about that and think about your more affordable options such as ourselves. So we did want to reiterate though that it's a quality education. So just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's any less, that the classes aren't as good. So it's a quality education. It's just a more affordable option. So we're not here to try and persuade you not to go to that four-year school. Ultimately, we want to see you at that four-year university. We just would love to show you how advantageous it can be for you to start at the community college and then transfer on to your four-year university. So I'm going to pass that along to Barbara with St. Charles Community College, and she's going to kind of talk to you a little bit more about how to transfer.
Yes, and Olivia, I saw your question in the chat about how do you know where credits will transfer to. That's a very common question that all of us get all the time. I take all these credits at the community college. How do they transfer to the next school? So I'm going to dive pretty deep into that question, and I'll come up for air, I promise. So the core transfer curriculum is called the CORE42. It's a framework for general education for all public 2-year and 4-year institutions in the state of Missouri. And this started back in the 2018-19 school year, so it's still relatively new. CORE42 essentially says if you graduate from college in Missouri, you should be knowledgeable in the following topics. You should know math, English, communication, humanities, biological and physical science, social science, and computer technology. We want you to know these things. The number 42 comes from the roughly 42 credit hours of general education coursework that's going to be required to have in order to graduate. For those of you who may not know, the majority of classes in college are going to be about 3 credit hours. There's some exceptions for math and science and foreign languages. Those can be somewhere between 4 and 6 depending on your school. So I've done the math for you. The 42 credits come out to about 13 general education classes you'll take. Again, varying on the school, but it's 13-ish. And then you're going to say, but Barbara, an associate's degree is about 60 credit hours. So what about the other 18 credit hours? Because you've only talked about 42. So that's where the real fun is. You get to choose your own adventure in college for what those elective hours are going to be. If you've always wanted to learn how to weave baskets underwater, you could take an underwater basket weaving class as an elective. Or you could take an introductory class for the major you're interested in. It's, again, your own adventure. So I highly encourage you to work with an academic advisor or even talk to the 4-year school you plan on transferring to create an academic plan that's going to fit best for you. So that was my tangent about general education coursework. I'm going to go back to the CORE42 so you can take a breath. The goal of CORE42 is to create a seamless transfer for your college credit, because it is a very sad story to hear a student take all of these credit hours at one college and then they go to transfer to meet their goals and none of the credits transfer. So CORE42 tries to eliminate that experience. When you complete CORE42 classes at one public college, the credits will transfer to any other public institution in the state and count towards your general education requirements. So if you take a couple credit hours or if you complete all 42, they're going to transfer. How that happens is that the courses are designated with a Missouri transfer course number, which guarantees the one-to-one transfer for the courses in all Missouri public institutions. Every school in the state may have a different name for their college level writing class, for example, but they'll all have the same Missouri transfer course number, and that's how you can guarantee the transfer. You'll notice that I keep emphasizing a public school, public college, university, or institution. That is because private and independent schools are not required to participate in this program. But they have noticed that CORE42 does provide a service for students, so some of them are starting to join the party with us. I will also point out that CORE42 is only applicable in the state of Missouri. CORE42 was a part of a bill out of the Missouri Senate for Missouri students. So it is good to know that out-of-state schools will evaluate your credits on a course-by-course basis. So make sure that you are doing your homework when you are looking at schools that you want to transfer to after your time at a community college. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Davina.
Okay, thank you. So you may be asking yourself, is a community college the right fit for you? It does take typically 2 years, full-time student to complete one of our associate degrees at a community college. And some of the degrees, as Barbara was talking about, like when you take those credits, they're really designed for transferability, so that you can go on to a 4-year institution and complete your education in whatever path, major that you are looking at. So, I mean, you can really start here, even if you don't know exactly what direction you want to go. You can get those general credits done. Again, Barbara did a good job talking about how that transfers. Even if you do know that you want to be a teacher or an engineer, you want to be a doctor, whatever, BSN, a bachelor's in nursing, it's a good place to start to get those initial credits. And a lot of schools do work with, a lot of 2-year schools do work with bigger 4-year schools for articulation agreements. And that even goes further to help with that seamless transfer along with 42. So we really strive to make sure those credits go towards what the student's goal is. I know oftentimes, even in my advising role, and I'm sure we all do this, we always guide students, know what your transfer school is, so then we can even know more specifically what those schools want to make sure you're taking the right type of electives. So we really help for that seamless transfer if that 4-year degree is your goal. We also have, the tech side of the house, a lot of programs that are geared towards workforce readiness. There are multiple examples among all of us here, welding, automotive, technologies, HVAC. Again, you got your allied health, whether you want to be a physical therapy assistant, occupational therapy assistant, nursing, radiologic tech. There's a lot of opportunities, law enforcement, business management. So no matter what your interests are, there's likely a, 2-year school out there that will definitely, fit your needs and help you get those skills so that upon graduation, you can go into the workforce and build your career and start, working your way up into a local business. What we're going to do next is we're going to talk more specifics about each of our schools and to kind of highlight what we have to offer, just so that, if you have any more questions and to know if we're a good fit for you.
Okay, so I am going to talk just a little bit about Jefferson College, and kind of going along with, is community college a good fit? We do offer a lot of different associate degrees, and so that's typically any of the degrees that a community college will offer will be called an associate of something. So we offer a few different degrees for transfer students and a degree for students that are planning on kind of focusing more on like a career degree, a degree that prepares them for a career. So at Jefferson College, we do have the Associate of Arts degree, which we've already kind of talked a little bit about, which is just that general education transfer degree. We do have an Associate of Arts in Teaching if you're planning on going into teaching. Our Associate of Science degree is actually for students that are planning on going into pre-engineering. So if you're planning on transferring, becoming an engineer. And then we also have an Associate of Fine Arts if you're interested in music, or if you are interested in art. And so that would be actually like painting, drawing, that kind of art. Pretty much anything else, if you know that you're planning on going on to get a bachelor's degree, you're really looking at that Associate of Arts degree. So the Associate of Applied Science degrees that we offer are going to be the ones that are really more career focused. So the ones that are designed for you to get a degree at Jefferson College and then be ready to go out to the workforce. And so some of our popular programs are going to be things like culinary, automotive technology. We have heating, refrigeration, and air conditioning, welding, law enforcement, EMT, paramedic, and then a lot of health occupation programs too. So things like health information technology, which is a little bit more the business side of healthcare. And then we have nursing, physical therapist assistant, radiologic technician, occupational therapy. And then we also have veterinary technology as well, which is working to be an animal nurse. And like was mentioned, we all do participate in CORE42, so it is a guaranteed transfer for all of our different general education classes. And then we also, all of us will accept the A+ program as well. So that's something that you can use at any of the community colleges. At Jefferson College, really, if you're looking at getting started, as Sammy mentioned earlier, we don't have an application fee, so it's really just filling out that application. And I would say that for any of the community colleges, if there's no application fee, why not go ahead and do that, because you're really getting that first step out of the way. Other than that, it's really just making sure that you have all of your transcripts sent. And so Sammy also kind of talks a little bit about sending your transcripts if you've done any dual credit classes and things like that. Another thing that once you've kind of had your transcripts sent and everything, then really you're ready to meet with your advisor and enroll in classes. And that is something I know we've already talked about a little bit, but it is really important that you do meet with an advisor each semester. That way you are planning the courses that work best for you so that you're staying on track, whether you're completing a career degree or planning on transferring on to finish up a bachelor's degree. Another thing I wanted to point out is that we do have housing on campus as well. So if you do want to live on campus, that is an option at Jefferson College. I'll turn it over to Sammy.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Mineral Area College. We are sometimes referred to as MAC. So if you ever hear someone referred to it as MAC, that's the same school. So established in 1922. You can see here on the top kind of left side of the screen, we're located in Park Hills. So that's our main campus. That's about an hour south of St. Louis, and it's north of Cape Girardeau and Poplar Bluff too. So that's kind of where we're located. Smaller school, so 2,600 students. We have a student to faculty ratio of 20:1, which just means that classrooms are going to be smaller, a smaller setting. Your teachers are going to know who you are, a lot of hands-on activities, so you're not just a number. And then we have 200 College Park residents that live on campus. As Casey mentioned, we do have student housing as well. But then 15 different countries represented. So we do have a few international students on campus. So even though it is a smaller school, you can still get kind of a cultural experience because we do have kids from all over the world here. So I'm going to go down where it says in that little white box with the red text. So we have 25 different clubs and organizations on campus. Some of the more popular ones are Art Club. We have an ambassador club, and so the student ambassadors actually work here in the admissions office for me. So they give campus tours. They actually get paid for that, so that's a good opportunity on campus. As Casey also mentioned, the Phi Theta Kappa, that's an honor society, and that's something that you're a part of in your community college. It is something you have to pay for in order to get registered for, but it can mean a lot of scholarship opportunity once you transfer. And then Student Activities Council is also a club on campus that's really popular. We have 12 athletic teams. So we have men's and women's basketball, softball, baseball, women's volleyball, men's golf, men's and women's cross country, men's and women's track. We just added men's and women's soccer. And then we have cheerleading as well. So some of those athletic teams do have scholarships tied to them. So if you're interested in maybe playing, you know, at the community college level, right out of high school, you'll definitely want to reach out to one of our coaches. As you see down here at the bottom, that's a little picture of our student housing. So like I said, we do have residents that live on campus. That we have 2-bedroom and 4-bedroom apartments. So if that's something that you were interested in, you'll have to fill out that application as well. We do have a virtual tour where you can kind of walk through an apartment online. So if you wanted to see what it looks like, you know, to kind of be in there, what it would look like move-in day, you can check that out. We have different amenities that they offer over there. There's an outdoor pool, a sand volleyball court. That's where the laundry facilities and other stuff is located. So over here on the right-hand side, as Casey kind of mentioned, most community colleges are going to offer the same kind of different categories of degrees and certifications. So because we are a 2-year school, it's pretty much the same across the board. Now, a lot of us just specify in different areas. So on the top, you see these are our options if you're looking at transferring to a university. So we have the Associate of Arts and then the Associate of Arts in Teaching. So some of our popular Associate of Arts degrees is agriculture. We see a lot of computer science. We recently added the sports management. And then if students are undecided, we see a lot of general studies as well. And then the Associate of Arts in Teaching, we have different areas of concentration with that. So a couple of them like ag ed, music ed, physical ed, if you wanted to teach those specific areas. But then we also have like special ed, secondary ed, or early childhood education if you want to kind of, you know, specify by an age group. So if you go down on the bottom, the second half of this is our options to prepare you for a career. So these are generally degrees that you can earn 2 years or less, as well as the certificates. So a lot of popular options down there. Again, agriculture, automotive technology, criminal justice. We also see a lot of welding technology, and then physical therapist assistant. Now, our Associate of Science degree, we actually offer an LPN program, an RN program, radiology tech, and respiratory therapy. So we do have a large amount of students that come here with interest in those areas. And then our certificates, Law Enforcement Academy, EMT, as well as welding. So just to kind of name a few off, highlight some points there. You can always look on our website though. We have all of our majors and careers listed if you have a question, if we offer something or not. But just to kind of reiterate what's already been said, we accept A+, so fill out an application, send your transcripts, submit your test scores, and apply for financial aid, and we will get you going. So I'm going to pass it along to Barbara to talk about St. Charles.
Awesome. So again, I'm Barbara, admissions recruiter at St. Charles Community College. So our main campus is located in Cotterville off of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and we also have an additional campus in Darting Creek off of Highway 4061. We have about 6,000 students enrolled at SCC, and the average class size is about 19 students. We have over 50 clubs and organizations on campus. These are hobby-based groups, identity-based, as well as pre-professional organizations. Athletic teams that we have are going to include men's baseball and soccer, women's softball and soccer, and then co-ed cross country and track and field just started last year. And they had a pretty exciting season, so we're excited to see what they do this fall. Scooter McCougar is our mascot. You can see him in a picture there from a previous resource fair on campus. And our first on-campus apartment complex, which is called Campus Lake Apartments, as well as a Starbucks, both opened up earlier this year, so we're also very excited about those things. The Starbucks is right across the sidewalk from my office, so it's very nice to have on campus. So a majority of our students are going to take classes in preparation to transfer to a four-year school. So I have on the screen our transfer programs. They're going to be the Associate of Arts, the Associate of Arts in Teaching, we have Associate of Fine Arts, and the Associate of Science. And then the Associate of Applied Science, as everyone else has talked about, is prep for the workforce. And some of our newer options there are going to be animation and gaming under computer science, agriculture, if you're interested in drones and lasers and experimental fields, and then welding, stick welding, MIG welding, and TIG welding is what we have right now. And then allied health, I also want to talk about that because we have a virtual hospital at our Darting Creek campus, so we're very proud of that facility. We have nursing programs for RN and LPN, and we no longer operate off of a wait list. We have an Associate of Applied Science and an upcoming Bachelor's of Applied Science in Occupational Therapy. That bachelor's program is in partnership with Missouri State. It's anticipated to start next fall. Also very excited about that. We also have a fully online health information management degree. So if you're already in the workforce and you're wanting to get some more information on that, it's definitely for our returning learners, very popular. Our health occupations, we have pharmacy technician, phlebotomy, and certified nurse assistant. In the last couple weeks, we did open a new building at our Darting Creek campus where we are hoping to have culinary and brewing programs starting next fall. So stay tuned for more information on those as well. The admission process at SCC is pretty straightforward. You complete that free online application and then send us your high school and any college transcripts you have. Speak with an academic advisor to register for classes, and then don't forget to complete the FAFSA if you are interested in financial aid or are participating in the A+ program. And we are currently offering virtual and on-campus admissions appointments at this time. So Davina, that's you next.
Okay, thank you. So a lot of stuff that's already said also applies to Three Rivers, but I wanted to highlight some of the recent changes that we have, some new buildings, trying to enhance some of our programs. So, at Three Rivers, we definitely strive to provide a high quality learning opportunities for our students. With the associate degree or the transfer Associate of Arts degrees, we work to make sure we have articulation agreements to help further that seamless transfer that I was mentioning. Also, we have on our campus a university center. So we have 3 full-time staff members, one from Hannibal LaGrange, one from Central Methodist University, and one from SEMO. And so what the benefit of that is students that complete their 2-year degree with us can seamlessly transfer to one of those schools if they choose, and they can either complete their programs still on this campus with, on the Poplar Bluff campus. And you can see that Three Rivers is located in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, in southeastern Missouri. But with the University Center, they can complete degrees either online, through evening classes, but they don't really have to, students don't have to leave the region to complete that 4-year degree. So we're really proud of that partnership that we've developed and that has flourished over the last several years. In regards to our tech programs that we have, our applied science, we just are working on completing an expansion project in the building that houses a lot of these. So you can see in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, that is a new fire tower that was built. And students that are part of the fire science certificate program, this is where they simulate different types of fires, learn how to go up steps in apartment buildings. I actually got to tour this recently, and it's really exciting. How do you approach fires that are in different levels of a house? In addition, we have a 3-bay, we've built a 3-bay kind of like engine house on campus. We have, airbags that simulate like how do you deal with building collapses. You simulate car fires and overturn tractor trailers. So a lot of fun stuff going on there. And, it's one of the best training facilities in the southern half of the state. So definitely very proud of that. And students that do work on that certification can actually be certified through fire safety through the state of Missouri. So great opportunity there. Agriculture, we own a 108-acre farm. So we have hands-on ability for our students who are in agriculture. There you can see a photo of the 40 cattle that we own. There's calves and full-grown cattle. Our forestry program also goes out onto our farm and do hands-on related to forestry. One of our locations in Sykeston, we have a hemp farm where we work with local farmers, and students again have that hands-on opportunity to learn about like how what's the best ways to grow the crop, what are some learning curves on that to help local farmers, and the crop that we grow is used mostly for the CBD oil and for fibers. So again, a lot of things happening, exciting things happening here. We also are working on with our technology expansion. We have some brand new facilities for our criminal justice programs, our info technology specialists, so the programs that our program that deals a lot with like networking support. They'll have some new things to play with as well. And we also have a relatively brand new, it's about a year and a half in, sports complex for our basketball play, where our basketball games are. So we really have invested into our properties. We've also, like I said, we've upgraded several of our technology programs, offering new facilities. A lot of things happening here. Really proud of what we're doing in Three Rivers. And something just to go back to the other conversation that I did with the benefits of a community college, is it right for me? One of the things I did forget to mention was that one of the benefits of attending a community college is after you get those first 2 years done, you have a degree in hand. You don't always, if you go to a 4-year school, life happens. Sometimes at year 3 1/4, or even like right after your 2nd year, you can't go anymore, or you have to take time off and then return. If you choose a community college first and then go to a 4-year school, you'll have that degree to fall back on in case you have any life events that disrupt your plans and take you on a different path. So I did want to touch base on that because I think that's an important thing. One of the really big benefits of a 2-year school is that you have that degree at that halfway point. But I digress back to Three Rivers. And as everyone mentioned, the application process is pretty similar on our website under the admissions tab. So at trcc.edu, we have a Getting Started tab, and it's going to be your checklist. It's going to have everything that you need from your application link to FAFSA, your placements, self-guided placement. So if you have ACT scores or if you don't, we have a self-guided placement kind of questionnaire. So we set you up for success into the right class. We've really, I think a lot of us that are on here has probably moved a lot into the virtual world of supporting our students. Some of it by default, but now we've realized how much it benefits the students, and we're continuing in that path. So, you know, we do offer face-to-face, phone, and virtual admissions support, as well as advising support. And with that, I will also mention that we have just rolled out 12 fully online programs. They are mostly geared towards the Associate of Arts, the transfer pathway. But if you want to work on a degree and you're still working, you don't have time to come to a class, we do have 12 programs that we can guarantee you online. And again, you still get the same support as you would if you're a student on campus. We have those virtual advising sessions, and we've really, even face-to-face students have really grown to like them. So we're here, to help you, and we have that support here to make sure that you're successful. And that is Three Rivers in a nutshell.
Awesome. So we have our contact information here on our final slide. So definitely take a picture, write it down, whatever you need to do to get a hold of us later. But Jacqueline, do you want to walk us through the questions that we had in the chat?
Yeah, there were a few questions that I answered individually that were more applicable to just one person, but there were a few questions that we didn't really talk about a whole lot that I thought might be helpful. And if you guys do have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat now. I actually just saw one pop up. So the first one that I wanted to talk about, there was a student that asked about if credits transfer easily to out-of-state schools, because we talked about the CORE42 and how it transfers, it's guaranteed to transfer to other Missouri schools. So typically, yes, a lot of those classes are going to transfer out of state as well. They are not necessarily part of the agreement, so it's not guaranteed. But if you already have a school in mind, when you're meeting with your advisor at your community college, we can either reach out to an advisor at that school, or if you've already talked to an advisor at that school, we can figure out the best classes for you to take. And in most cases, those basic classes will still transfer, kind of depending on where you are thinking about going. So college algebra at Jefferson College, Mineral Area College, all of our schools is the same as pretty much any school. There are some that may be a little more specific. So it does always help to know where you want to go, so we can kind of talk to you about those options. But for the most part, there aren't as many hurdles as there used to be. So if you've heard that stigma, that private schools or even four-year public schools don't accept community college credit, it's not necessarily the case anymore. There are some highly selective programs that may want a specific class at their institution, but for the most part, they do still transfer. And then the other question that I noticed before, and I'm going to read these other ones, somebody asked if there are disadvantages to a community college, because we talked all about the advantages. In most cases, there aren't. For 99% of students, there are not really any disadvantages. The cost, as we talked about, is going to be less. And with the guaranteed transfer, that does really eliminate a lot of the hurdles that students may have faced years ago. The one thing that I will say, though, if you are planning on going to a highly selective private school for a very specific program, there may be specific classes that they want. So for those few select students, it may not be the best option, but if you already know where you want to go to school and then also have a program in mind, since you guys are mostly in high school, you can talk to us ahead of time, and all of the admissions counselors and or advisors at community colleges, if you are interested in the program and we know that it's not a good fit for you to go to a community college first, we're going to tell you that. We're going to be upfront. We're going to tell you that the courses may not transfer, because there are some specific professional programs typically that are looking for a specific class or a specific general education curriculum, and they may not accept the credits from our school. But if we know that, we will tell you. So don't worry about that. We're not going to mislead you if you meet with somebody at a community college first. Do any of you have anything to add to that?
I think you covered a lot of it. I would say just one thing that sometimes can catch up with students is that if they're changing their degree path a lot early on, whether it's at a four-year school or, at the community college, the more times you change your program, if you're FAFSA eligible, you're eating up your eligibility. So kind of at least having an idea of where you want to go if you have that four-year plan and, that four-year plan in your future, the more that we can kind of target your path, the better that we can balance your financial aid so that you have it for your full education.
So some of the other questions that just came in, so the answer for out-of-state universities is going to be pretty much the same for international universities. Their requirements may be different, so we would just encourage you to talk to those schools ahead of time and figure out what their requirements are, and then talk to your community college about if those classes are, if we offer those classes. For the question about the Common App, Jefferson College does not use the college or the Common App for admission. Do any of the other schools use it?
No, St. Charles doesn't.
Okay, so I don't think that that's a common thing for community colleges. Since our applications are free, and we do honestly usually ask for a little bit less than some of the schools that utilize the Common App. We don't have essays on our applications or anything like that, so it typically will not take as long to complete an application for admission for a community college. And then the other question was about double majoring. So really the process is going to be the same. If you are doing your general education, then it's going to be a similar process, and then you'll just work with your advisor at your four-year school to figure out the classes that you need to finish that up. I think we only have a few minutes left. I'm glad we got through all of the questions. Is there anything that anybody wanted to add to that before we wrap up?
I think you covered a lot of the questions well, and I do agree with you. We're not going to sell a program to somebody who it doesn't fit for. So I always encourage students, people that are interested, reach out, have a conversation. It never hurts. If this isn't the best place for you, we want you to go where you need to go for your goals.
I agree with that too. Your local community college, like the community college in your area, we're here to serve you, and we're here to serve the community. So we are here to help. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions, even if you are uncertain of if you want to attend or not. You can always reach out, and we can definitely talk with you and talk with you about your options and everything too.
Great, thank you. I wanted to go ahead and thank our presenters today from Jefferson College, St. Charles Community College, Mineral Area College, and Three Rivers College. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. This session was just one of many sessions being hosted during the virtual college fair. So please be sure to sign up for additional sessions at MOACAC.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find the sessions recording as well as all the other session recordings at MOACAC.org. Thank you very much for joining us today.